Hey, what's up, guys? Dylan Johnson from Soccer Mag here, and welcome back to another episode of Mixing with the DJs. I'm once again joined by my other DJ, Dylan Jack, and we will be doing a massive preview for Game Week 3 of the Premier League. As you can see, Manchester United versus Liverpool at Old Trafford. Thankfully, it's the last game of the weekend, so we can get through all the other nonsense and actually speak about what matters. So, first up, we have Arsenal versus Brighton. Would you like to kick us off there? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, this is a big test for Arsenal. They got a huge win against Aston Villa. That really did propel them back into the title race, I think. But this is another big test for them. Can they do this consistently? Brighton are one of those teams, as we saw against United, that can put away the big teams if you're not on it. If you have these sort of small defensive lapses, they're a team that can take their chances and have sort of dangerous attacking players. This is going to be the big another big test for Arsenal. But I think that Arsenal are good enough, obviously, to beat Brighton. I mean, they went and did it away at Villa, which is huge for them. So, yeah.
What scoreline are you thinking?
I'm thinking another 2-0 win for Arsenal, maybe a 2-1 for Arsenal, 2-1, 3-1. I think a two-goal spread, I think, will be fair there in favour of Arsenal, I think.
But I do think Arsenal, after watching them at Villa, they've elevated a level. Yeah. Either Villa have dropped, which I don't think they have. Yeah. I think Arsenal will take this one, but I do think it'll be another massive challenge. Yeah. I think it's the international break next week, so they can get 3 points here, stay around top of the table after these. I mean, Wolves against Chelsea, we saw they weren't the greatest, but still 3 massive games to tick off to go into the international break. Yeah. So I'm going to go for 2-1. Yeah. Don't think there's much more to add about that. No, that's... Moving on to Brentford versus Southampton. Another one, not really much to say.
I think straightforward win for Brentford. I think they were solid enough against Liverpool. They didn't really get their opportunities to attack, obviously, because Liverpool was a standard ahead of them. So I think this is where they can pick up a very handy 3 points.
Especially after their performance in the first week against Crystal Palace, I think, that's a massive 3 points to get already. Yeah. And then to go to Anfield and limit Liverpool. That second half really, like you said in the last episode, Liverpool had to fight for that goal. Yes. And they, did create chances. And I think with the attacking players they have, Southampton, I think I saw a stat, they've had 24 shots at goal and they've scored 0 goals. Yeah, no. So they're pretty blunt going forward. Yeah. Away from home, at home I see Brentford taking this 2-0, maybe even 3-0.
Brentford will take it, easy one.
After that, Everton versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, Everton have been abysmal to start the season. I don't know if Sean Dyche can do his rescue act again with this team. This again is a really good opportunity for Bournemouth to get a good 3 points in the bag, very useful 3 points in the bag.
And I think at the start of the season I said I was excited to see how Everton played. Yeah. And that wasn't me saying I'd expect them to, finish in the top half of the table, but they really have... This team, I think, after how they played last season, we all thought they would be a bit better. They wouldn't be in this predicament already, even though it's only been 2 games. Yeah. But they could be battered 3 games in a row with 2 at home.
And that would be disastrous, wouldn't it?
And I think because, of how badly they played, I see Bournemouth going there winning 2-1.
Yeah, I see it as a 3-1 maybe even for Bournemouth. I think that, this could be a game where Bournemouth can really stack on the goals.
Yeah. Because Everton just haven't looked great.
No more Merseyside derby after this season.
Moving on, we have Ipswich versus Fulham. And Ipswich have a real opportunity to get 3 points here. Yeah. Even though Fulham have been, they haven't looked bad against United. No. They didn't look amazing against United, but then last week they won. Yeah. So they got a good win at Leicester, but let's be honest, Leicester aren't great. No. But Ipswich at home played well against Liverpool for the first 45. Yeah. I think that they could attack this game and actually get 3 points. Yes. I'm not sure if they will, but I think it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. This is a game where sort of Kieran McKenna can show sort of more of his attacking tactics, I think, as a manager. I mean, they've really had to scrape through a very, very... They couldn't have asked for a tougher start to this season. So this is a game where Ipswich can really go and express themselves. They against a very experienced and a very settled Fulham side. But I still think Ipswich, if they can settle down and they can sort of get into their rhythm, then it's a game where they can get 3 points,
And what scoreline?
I think it'll be, a narrowish 1-0 or 2-1. That's what I think.
Okay, 2?
to Ipswich, I think.
Okay, nice.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to go for 1-1.
Yeah.
Just because I think Fulham do have a stronger side.
Yes.
But I think Ipswich style and the way they've played, even though they got battered against Man City, there have been a lot of positives to their game, I think.
Yeah, yes.
Next up, Leicester versus Aston Villa. And even though Aston Villa lost against Arsenal, I think this will be...
Yeah, I think Aston Villa really had their chances against Arsenal. They just didn't take them. We spoke about Ollie Watkins missing his opportunities there. I don't think they'll make the same mistake against Leicester. I think Leicester have Jamie Vardy aside, looked really ordinary in their opening games. So, yeah, I think this is a good opportunity for Aston Villa to bounce back. They've got more than enough threat up front. And I think they'll have far too much firepower for what is a sort of average Leicester team.
I think even Steve Cooper said he doesn't think his squad's good enough.
No,
so
that's not a good sign.
Yeah, not at all. I think your mainline signing being Oliver Skipp for 25 mil, no disrespect to him. He's not going to keep you in the Premier League, no disrespect.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to go for 2-0 Aston Villa.
Yeah.
I think if Leicester get a goal, it'll be a good day for them. But, you know, I just think Villa are a way better side.
Yes, yeah.
Moving on to Forest vs Wolves. Another one where, you know, Wolves didn't have... I mean, also similar to a situation to Ipswich where they played Arsenal on the opening day. They played Chelsea, who were wanting to send a message last week. Realistically, you know, you can't really blame them for losing both those games. I think the manner which the second half they got destroyed against Chelsea was probably the worst part of it.
Yeah.
But I think this will be a tight game against Forest.
Yes.
I might be leaning towards them winning, but I think I'm seeing like a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is this has all the makings of sort of a mid-table classic 2-2 draw, both sides going hammer and tongs at it. I think, probably a high-scoring draw there.
Yeah.
Or a 3-2 for either side, I think. Yeah,
but I can't give one side the edge.
No.
Now the big four to end the weekend.
Ooh, here we go.
We have the last game of Saturday, West Ham versus Man City.
Yes.
What are you thinking for that game?
I think this could be an interesting test for Man City. I think they've really got by staying in third gear for their opening fixtures. They haven't really had to. They had a little bit of a scare against Ipswich, but that was never going to be anything else than a City win, you know. They rebounded really quickly after that and went into cruise control again. So this is their first real sort of test in the season. I think West Ham were impressive in the way that they responded in their last game. I think they were quite solid there. So I think it'll be a tough one for them. I liked what I saw from Aaron Wan-Bissaka in obviously as a United fan. I like seeing how these guys sort of after they moved on, as long as he doesn't do it when he comes back to Old Trafford. But yeah, I think that West Ham could pose a bit of a challenge there against City. But I think again, City will end up having too much firepower. They got Gundogan back settled in. De Bruyne seems to have found a new lease of life compared to how he was last season, and that's just another threat. So yeah, I think this will be Savinho settling in really, really well. So
and Haaland looks out to prove that he's not a League 2 player.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know how you see it, but yeah, I think this will be a City win.
I completely agree. I think that City, you know, when I think 99% of the games this season, maybe when they don't, you know, maybe when they face United, Arsenal, Liverpool, those are the games where you think maybe they can drop points. But against West Ham, even away from home, like you said, De Bruyne, Haaland, Savinho settling, and they just have too much.
Yeah.
And looking at West Ham, I think that their main players like Kudus and Paqueta, even though Paqueta scored on the first day, they haven't really looked to be creating too many chances. So, you know, if they don't play well, I don't see West Ham doing anything at all, if I'm honest. And I don't think West Ham's defense is good enough to keep City out for 90 minutes.
No.
So I'm going to go for maybe a 3-1 City.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair enough, yeah.
Now on Sunday, first game of the day.
Super Sunday.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Sunday. These next three games are going to be pure entertainment, hopefully. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah, another interesting test for Chelsea because they had a bit of a bonanza goal spree against Wolves. But I mean, this is another big test for them. Crystal Palace are no joke. They've got a good, solid side there, and they've got some threats of their own. They're really unfortunate again. They drop points against West Ham. not the best start for them this season. I think a lot more would have been expected. But this is a game that they'll be looking at and seeing, well, a Chelsea side that's not quite, even though they got that goal spree, they have their vulnerabilities, as they showed in the first half. They still have their vulnerabilities. So Crystal Palace could look at this and say maybe we could sort of edge a sort of draw they'll be looking at. But yeah, I think in the end, maybe Chelsea, having found their form, if they can sort of settle on a starting lineup now, then maybe it could work out for them. But again, there's just so much going on behind the scenes. They're now being linked with Jadon Sancho coming in, and they just seems to be
Sterling, I think,
Raheem Sterling. But so we'll see what happens. Yeah,
I think also with Chelsea, every 45 minutes you have no idea what you're going to get.
Exactly.
I think both games they've played has been a tale of two halves in both games. I mean, against City, one of the halves they showed promise, and in the other half they were terrible. Against Wolves, okay, I wouldn't say they were terrible in the first half, but they elevated a level, considerably in the second half.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think if against Crystal Palace, if you show up for only one half, you will be punished.
Yes. Yeah.
I do think Chelsea, I said I will back them again for another week because I think Palace also, they're not as strong as they were in the last 10 games of last season.
Yes,
I think losing Elise has been huge for them.
Yes.
The problems with losing Anderson at the back, and maybe if Gehi's leaving, we don't know ahead of the deadline. Because I think that Anderson-Gehi partnership was
it
great
was huge
last
for them.
season. So to lose potentially both of those centre-backs, their best attacker, not replace them.
Yeah.
I think this could be a tough season with Palace despite the progress they've made.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea. I think Palace will cause them problems.
Yeah.
But I do, I don't know. I think Cole Palmer, he's so key to Chelsea.
He is, and he's on fire at the moment. So, I think 2 or maybe even a 3-1 to Chelsea could end up being. It just ends up whether we see the game of two halves or whether they can actually put it together.
Exactly. Newcastle Tottenham at the same time.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be my second favorite game of the weekend to watch.
Yeah.
Because both teams fighting for similar positions in the table.
Yeah.
I think, Newcastle, we've spoken before, their starting 11 is great.
Yeah.
Spurs as well have strengthened, even though Solanke's injured.
Yeah.
I still think Spurs look good against Everton. They looked very good.
Yeah.
I think this will be an interesting matchup. Where do you see it, one side being better than the other? Or
it is a very even matchup. I think they both come into it with sort of similar runs of form. I think that they both have their threats up front, even though, as you said, Solanke is injured. But I think Newcastle might just have their edge in this one. I think that playing at home at St. James's Park is a huge boost for them. So I think that they might just have the edge over Spurs. Yeah,
I agree. I'm going to give it. The thing is, I think both teams will score in this game.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'm going to go 2-1 or maybe 3-2 because I think both teams can score goals.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take a risk and say 3-2 to Newcastle.
Yeah, that's actually that's actually
because I think it'll be an exciting game. I think Son, Maddison, they'll do something.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, obviously Gordon, Isak. If Isak's fit, so
yes.
I think there'll definitely be goals in this match.
They will. Yeah.